Hello, everybody.
Oh,
Oh,
evening all.
good evening, all. Welcome to the interesting modelling company, Festive of Modelling, which is going to be a little bit of a change to the format tonight. This is more of an informal kind of gathering. And, actually, it's an ungathering because Derp's just decided to leave. So there we go. So it's more of a kind of like we're just going to be on our workbenches. We're going to be getting on with projects. We're going to be having a yakety yak. And we'll field some of your questions or comments.
Conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it tonight. I don't know how long we are going to be on tonight, Drew, because you're a bit under the weather, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I think I may have worked out the core of the problem, shall we say?
Which is
Unbelievably, sleep deprivation because of Fred.
bread.
Fred.
All right.
Yeah. I know it sounds odd, but his neediness at 4:45 a.m. has become a real issue.
Okay.
And it's been depriving me of sleep in the early hours of the morning because I can't, and so last night I ended up getting out of bed, taking him downstairs and locking him in the kitchen with his brother for the rest of the night, and slept like a baby. And I woke up in the morning and went down to see them, and they were both curled up together, sound asleep. So it's like I say, it's not exactly going to involve an RSPCA intervention at any point, is it? For locking him in a warm, centrally heated kitchen. But yeah, it was. I'm a little bit under the weather anyway, I think, because I've got a little bit of a cold or something. But that really hasn't been helping in the last week or so. So unfortunately, his extreme affection has played against him. So he's being evicted for the immediate future to sleep with his brother overnight. It's insane, isn't it? It's insane, isn't it?
Well, hey ho. I mean, Derp is. See, you can tell this isn't a normal show because immediately we're talking about cats. And Derp, he just chooses where he wants to go at the moment. He, by and large, likes to sleep in the donut on the chaise longue. The chaise longue.
The chaise longue,
in the library. When he doesn't, occasionally he comes in the front room, wants to sleep on the settee with me when I'm watching telly. But other than that, he'll be, if I'm doing ghost stories tonight, he'll be straight up there wanting to join in. So
it's problematic because you hate to admit to yourself that something you love to distraction is actually causing an issue.
No.
And it's not an issue with him being badly behaved, or you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's just the opposite. But nevertheless, it is still clearly an issue. So
clearly an issue
for the immediate future. He will be sleeping on well, not on his own. He'll have company that I don't have. So.
No. Well, welcome to Cat Watch, everybody.
Yes,
exactly. Right. Well,
they know what we're like here. They know
what we're like.
They know we're ruled by our cats. So
ruled by our cats. Right, tonight this is going to be a slightly different format. Like I say, we'll aim for an hour. If Drew wants to go beyond the hour, he can. But if you don't feel like going beyond the hour, Drew, that's fine. And we're working on various projects here. In fact, as I was preparing in here this evening, I suddenly remembered that one of the projects I was hoping to do over the Christmas period was to build that Italeri Crusader, and it just completely slipped my mind. So, but I don't want to start another project here at the moment. I want to get on with the Comet and finish the ambulance. And I was thinking of doing some work on that little German Hanomag tractor, which I bought from Froome before Christmas. So I think, well, let the people decide. Let the people decide.
People decide.
Yeah. So what are you working on at the moment then?
Well, I mean, I'm still sort of ploughing slowly through the Mirage 3 CJ. I got all the undercarriage on today, so the undercarriage and the wheelbase have been masked off, so they'll be sprayed next. Yeah, I always had I've taken the mick out of our friend Craig Sargent for many years over how early he adds undercarriage to his models. But if you do add them before you paint things like wheelbase, it does mean that you get these incredibly strong undercarriage units that you can then sort of like, because all this has got to be basically natural metal anyway, so it you know, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference really. And there's my I 3D printed my own wheels for it, so there's the nose undercarriage with a nose wheel in place, which I had to do a couple of little modifications to, but that's in place. And as you can see, there's various sorted tones and metal areas all over it. So we're sort of approaching the area where once I've got the undercarriage bays and undercarriage legs painted, I'll be moving on to putting decals on it. And the other thing is still sort of doing bits and bobs to the.
There we go.
Yeah, the more I build, the further I get with this, the less happy I am with it, and it's all down to me, not the kit.
Okay.
I'm at that stage at the moment where this will get finished. Don't get me wrong, but I'm almost using it as a test bed for my next one, which will be far better, shall we say?
Right.
Because I've you know, it's an expensive way of learning what to do with a kit, if you know what I mean. But yeah, there's some areas under a coat of primer, you're looking at it and think, yeah, that could have been done better, and that could have been done better. Nothing catastrophic, like we said. But yeah, just stuff that makes you think next time it'll be better. Again, the undercarriage and stuff is already on, which makes this, you know, really really strong joins. So I got some as we were just discussing before we came on air, I got some I did order some res kit missiles, which we were discussing a couple of weeks ago. Apparently they turned up about 2 weeks ago and have been sat in the rain for 2 weeks because they've been sat out the back of a door I never ever use, and Royal Mail decided not to tell me. So the consequence of that is they've been sat out in the rain for 2 weeks. So there's the decals, which
whoopsie,
as you can see, and like once decals get wet, that's it. If you don't use them, they're dead. You know, you can these will not, you will not be able to reactivate these decals and use them again. This is a dead set of decals. I mean, obviously the resin doesn't suffer hugely, although I did have some curvature of some of the. These are the bodies for the AIM 120, the AMRAMs. So, but well, I showed you one of these Sidewinder bodies before, didn't I, John? And it was a huge.
You used a word which I'm not going to repeat, but yeah.
Yeah, there was a swear involved. But the thing with resin is it's got a memory.
Yeah.
It's got a memory. So some warm water, just dip it in the warm water for only a few seconds. Only a few seconds, and then you can start sort of. You can see how easily that's bending. And then you can start straightening it out and letting it cool. Like so. And then you just got to keep on looking at it. You can see there's quite a curve there. So you're just kind of working it as it cools. And then if you've got a straight edge, well, you can use something like this. Look, you can use it to check and see. Like so, as it cools. And then hopefully you'll end up with an almost straight missile, which will obviously at some point end up going, well, in this case it'll be under there, but yeah, it's very disappointing that a group of people you're vehemently supporting at the moment in their travails with the government kind of let you down along the way. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, leaving something out in the rain and not letting me know it's out there. You know, expecting me to walk around to a door that I never use, and I've told them repeatedly I never use, just to check, is, you know, I don't think it's acceptable. What do you think?
I ended up taping up my letterbox because I was fed up with the number of books that I was getting here, where the postman would try forcing them through the letterbox, and so they either ended up with the covers with a crease in them, or the spine's broken, or whatnot. And I actually put a note on the door to say, "Dear Mr. Postman, please don't try forcing books through the letterbox. Yours sincerely." And my postie rather helpfully removed the note from the letterbox and forced a book through the letterbox. So at that stage, that is when I decided to tape the entire letterbox up with a note on it saying, "Please leave stuff on the table there, please, 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 please."
Yes.
And one postman tried to undo all the tape and still insist on putting stuff through the letterbox, but by and large, they're all very good about it. So hey ho.
I used to have a postie that I utterly trusted, and then he went and took a promotion, which I've never forgiven him for. And now I just you just get whoever's free on the day, and there's no chance of forming a relationship with your post person like you would have done once.
Years ago.
Just terrible. But no, I saw Yoav there talking about the undercarriage joining the undercarriage doors on this kit, and he's dead right. Look, that they just plop in there like so, and the angle is immediately set by the stuff you added beforehand. It's just absolutely perfect. You know, tiniest dab of glue, and that will be in place. So
now we got a question here from Hobby Time, who says, question for Drew, because obviously I'm just, you know, superfluous. He says, I'm looking for some bomb racks for the Revell 32nd scale Hurricane to do a hurry bomber. How difficult would it be to 3D print some?
It'd be very easy, but you need the design. It's there's the, you know, 3D printing something like that is very easy. But what a lot of people don't. There you go. You see me again, whether you want to or not. Yeah, I mean, what quite a lot of people don't bear in mind is that the actual printing and the slicing and stuff is very much the easy part of this. The difficult part is the design and the information. And it's remarkable how often people ask you if you can do something, and when you say, yeah, just give me all the information I need to do it, they kind of fade away. Because
you just can't like that. It's just not.
Yeah, when you know when you kind of ask somebody to be involved in doing something that they want, do you know what I mean? In terms of, yeah, I don't mind doing the design work and the printing, but you've got to provide me with good information to work from. And you know, the idea that it should be, you know, I've asked you to do this as a favor, get on with it, is a little bit, you know, makes you sound grouchy, doesn't it? It makes you sound grouchy, but it's, you know, the design work and stuff like that is the hard part, is the labor intensive part. You know, the printing it is just sticking it on a slicer and sticking it on your printer. It's, you know, easy.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. Yes. Well.
So yeah, that's the like I say, the F16. I'm not happy with how this kit has gone, but it's down to me, not the kit.
Which is fair enough.
Stuff like when you do this insert for the here's my little tutorial as we go along. This insert here that goes into the panel, goes into the vertical tail. Make sure you check that for fit repeatedly and sand the edges flat so you don't end up with a poor fit like I did, which is transferred through to the fin cap and less less so along the bottom here, but that's an easy fill job. But with a couple of minutes of work, you can avoid that. The rear tail part that you add, they would have you build that in up complete, build the vertical tail base up complete, and then add the two. Don't add your chosen bit to each half, so you can align it perfectly along this join here, and then bring the two halves together where the actual join line will be hidden by other things. So yeah, so sand this thoroughly to make sure it slips in and fits perfectly, and build each half of the tail base up separately before bringing them together. And the other thing is, although it kind of looks okay here, you might be able to just catch it there. There you go. You can just catch here that my front to rear join isn't as good as I'd like it. But as soon as you move it around, it kind of disappears into nothingness.
You can hide that with weathering.
But what I would say is on the when you build yours is I would glue it here, let that dry for a bit, glue it here, let that dry for a bit, and then glue the final bit in. But most importantly, you could probably just work on that fit. Let's have a look at the. So here's the spare. Here's the spare fin part. Sorry, spare rear fuselage. Because you get both styles of rear fuselage in the kit. That looks nice, doesn't it? I primed and weathered that, so you can see or I primed and washed it, I should say. So you can see the quality of the. So that gives you an idea. So you can see the quality of the parts that the kit contains.
Oh, yeah.
They're, with a dark wash over a primer coat there, and a little bit of a polish, that shows that they're actually beautiful. But what I would do is, when I came to add sort of this part to here, just spend 5 or 10 minutes and you'll find that you can actually, just modify the fit a little bit, almost like, doing panel work on cars. Just spend a bit of time checking the fit and adjusting the fit like so, until you get a really almost flawless fit. I mean, you should be able to get it quite a bit better than that. I mean, that'll disappear under a coat of paint. That won't be a problem, because that's, that area on F-16s tends to be a little bit weathered and stuff anyway, so it's not it's not a deal breaker. But it's just little things like that which I think will, on my next build of this kit, shall we say, it will elevate it somewhat, I hope. So.
Well, I think sometimes this is one of the advantages of kind of building kind of two models of the same kit. Is one is to kind of like iron out the bugbears, and then the second one is that's the one you can absolutely nail. If it's a subject that you really like and you want to build multiples, I tend to treat the first one as the prototype. Is just
yeah. Well, that's it's kind of like, it's an expensive way to treat a model in many ways, but at least this one will be finished. But this is one where I did just the tail base of the C here. I assembled the forward and rear parts in halves and then brought the halves together, and that kind of, like I say, that transferred all any fit issues, such as they are. They're very, very minor anyway, to the actual centerline seam that you'd have to deal with regardless. And so with that together, this would that just goes in like so. So yeah, I mean, it's my overwhelming feeling towards this kit is still completely positive, because I know what the issues are, and I know who induced those issues, and it wasn't kinetic, shall we say. So yeah, that's what I've been up to, the Mirage and the Mirage and the F-16. But talking of res kit, there's a couple of little Shafrir 1 missiles I'm building. These are res kit to the very first Israeli air-to-air missile. So there you go. I'll go under the 8 board there. So, again, res kit again. Super little jobs. There's the kit one. There's the kit one, and there's the res kit one.
Not really comparable, are they?
Yeah, I think it's. I think the difference is playing. In actual fact, I have to be fair. That's a Shafrir 2 missile, and that's a Shafrir 1. So they are different variants of the missile. But you can see they're both roughly the same dimensions in real life. But yeah, that's been my week on and off little bits. Well, I've been feeling a little bit sort of blur anyway, under the weather anyway. So I haven't had a look through the questions yet.
Hang on, I'm just trying to get the. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Right, so we'll look at some questions then. We've got Jim Altegort says, "Nice big yawn, Jonathan." Yeah, it was actually. It was a pretty impressive yawn, Jim. It was pretty epic, actually. Paul Krupovich says, "If you use very hot, almost boiling water and insert missiles vertically into water and remove them vertically and repeat it a few times, and then still vertically dip in cold water, they often straighten themselves. By the way, I had res kit missiles warped in the box without assistance of postal services."
Yeah, I mean, I think the Shafrirs here had to have a tiny little bit of straightening done on them, to be fair. But the decals is purely down to the our postal services. You know, there's no way we can blame res kit for that.
Here's a question from Damien Mullen. I think I know what the answer is. He says, "Hi guys, is it possible to 3D print canopies for kits?"
Yes, it is, but technology isn't really there yet to make it reliable. The clear resins tend to print, and they will yellow over time, and they're still not totally as clear as you like. Plus, you've got the layer line issue, which would perhaps show up. That can be helped with varnish coats and stuff like that to hide layer lines. But at the moment, we're still at this place where we're waiting for the printing technology to properly catch up with the design technology, shall we say?
Which it will do.
Which it will do, without a doubt. You know, yeah, it's doable, and I've seen some pretty impressive clear stuff printed. But I perhaps not quite just yet for scale models. Would be my answer.
Steve Moore says, "Hope you had a great Christmas." Thank you. That's very kind of you. Jim Altegort says, he says, "JM, how do you like the fit, engineering, etc. of the comic kit?" Love it. The only thing that I'm still wrestling with here, and we may resolve this evening because we really need to get a wiggle on with this, and that is that I can't. I'll put the camera on. Here we go. The problem is, how do you solve a problem like the Comet? And it is that, well, come on. That's why I haven't got mine. Un momento, per favore. There we go. Right, that's what we're looking for. The problem is that because of the way Tamiya have designed this kit, you can pull the wheels in. You could add the wheels afterwards should you wish, but you've then got to add the tracks. Then you've got to add the mud guards, and then the little mud guards and everything. It's one of those things that you could build these all separately, paint them, weather them, then you could add these you know, etc., 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 etc. To be honest with you, I think it is probably going to be it's probably going to be quicker just to actually add the wheels, add the mud guards, add the tracks. Sorry, add the wheels, add the tracks, add the mud guards, and then paint your way out of that. I think it's the best way of putting it.
That's how I build armor.
Yeah,
I build the entire lower hull with the wheels and tracks in place, paint and weather them as I want, and then I build the rest of the kit, mask those areas off, and then paint the rest of the kit, and then I sort of bring it all together at the end.
Well, to be honest with you, there's nothing really that requires masking here. I mean, the thing about the tires is, you know, I can spray them a kind of like a dark grey tire color with the, you know, do that, then go in with my khaki green, and then do the centers, and then do everything else. So it's not, I don't really have to worry about bits of overspray going on the tires, because that will all get blended together in the weathering process anyway. So it's, I think what we're going to do, again, this is actually a kind of like a, it's actually kind of like a good proof of concept for being able to build two kits and build one the wrong way and go, right, won't do that on the next one, and then build the next one and then do it differently. So it would be nice if you could build this and add the mud guards and everything. I mean, I'm looking at this at the moment, and can I add the mud guards afterwards? I'm just thinking, can I add these? Can I add those? And then, oh, I don't know. All right, I might be able to do that actually. Yeah, let me entertain you. Let me put these. Let me put these the mud guards onto the bigger mud guards, and then see whether I can do it that way. And because if I can, then what that means is that I can build the running guard, build and paint the running gear separately, then add that all at the last minute. So that's what I'm going to do, folks. That's my plan. So that's what I'll do tonight. Is oops, Daisy. There we go. I'll try doing that. Well, may as well. Mike Reeves says Kinetic has come leaps and bounds. Happy this seems to be a winner. Now, if they could hire someone who isn't 7 years old to do the instructions.
Yeah, the instructions are, we discussed this last week as well, didn't we? The instructions are a really, really weak point with Kinetic kits. And they really need to get on top of it, because we're seeing such incredible quality instruction sheets coming from so many people these days. That you know, there's no excuse to put the extreme lack of energy into it that Kinetic do. Yeah. When the rest of the kits are such, you know, when the rest of the kits are so good quality at the moment, that kind of lack of energy really, really shows.
Yep, I agree. I mean, and the thing is, it's they're delivering such a quality product. All they've got to do is really look at what Tamiya or even Hasegawa do with their instruction sheets, and just kind of like follow suit, really.
Well, they can look closer to home than that. They've only got to look at Meng or somebody like that to see, you know, really, really top quality instructions these days. But you know, we're still getting dark, murky, effectively
photocopied instructions.
Yeah, it's just, no, it's not good enough.
Yeah,
it's not good enough.
Anthony Bird says, he says, did you see David Fletcher, Bovington Tank Chats and Bryn author is retiring? My Christmas present to myself was the British Military Transport 1829 to 1956 books with a signed book plate. So enjoyed his approach to Tank Chats, a true legend. Indeed, David Fletcher is retiring from doing the online stuff and whatever. So that's going to be sad, because he's quite a character. And yeah, so to David, I would say, thank you very much for everything you've done, sir.
You're very good health, sir.
Very good health. Nice little glass of sherry there, because it's Christmas. And let's have a look. Edward McKeanley said, sorry, I'm Try again. Edward McNeely. How do I pronounce that?
McAneely.
Right. Sorry, Edward. That's a good start to the show.
Or
Edward
McAneely.
McAneely says, I particularly enjoyed the Comet's duet with Christopher Plummer. Okay. And Pavel Krupovich says, I almost always build and paint suspension first, put the tracks on, mask it, and only then build and paint the rest of the vehicle.
Yep. It's exactly the way I do it.
Yeah, I tried that. It's not a process. I'll try. I've got an idea. Hold on, lads. I've got an idea. I've got an idea for this one, so I'm gonna.
I've tried all the different ways, and that is the only way that I can get to work. Everything else just ends up a mess. So
Okie dokie. Steve Moore says age and experience count for nothing in the current generation of management. They ruin the business by not learning the lessons of the past, then get a golden boot to move on and trash the next company. I don't know what that's in relation to, but thanks for that, Steve.
I mean, I'm not necessarily disagreeing. I'm just it's a bit out of left field.
I'm not disagreeing. That's interesting, right? Jack Daniels is good. I'll take your word for that. He says off topic? Did anyone see the segment on the BBC News about model building featuring the Airfix 24 scale Spitfire? Modelling is now mainstream. No, I didn't see that. Wouldn't see that. I would imagine.
No, but modelling becomes mainstream every few years for one news article, and then a lockdown did modelling a lot of good. But even that is an overall impact is starting to fade. I think now as people rediscover the joys of real life, shall we say?
Well, I don't know. Real life is a bit overrated.
Very much.
Philip Jones says, on instruction sheets, Kinetic should have a look at the most recent Airfix kits. Look at the instructions of the recent Anson. Great stuff. I wouldn't disagree with you there, Philip. Ian Hartup says, good to see you went with the festive idea. Yep. Anthony Bird says, JM, your update on Hella was all new to me. That ended up with such a poor reputation, but hoping the merge with their new owners in Germany lets them go on to better things. Now, we did posted a link to some Hella news and whatever, and they were talking to a couple of the chaps who are from the German holding company, and they seem to have all the right ideas. So it's fingers crossed it will be a new start for Hella. Dare I say it? Can I say this? Can I say this? I'm going to get into trouble. I think the best thing that best thing that could have ever happened to Hella was to have how can I word this carefully? Have German management practices rather than the ones they've had in the past, which have been a little bit wishy-washy.
Let's be clear. The period from 1985 through to their effective cessation the first time round was just a catastrophe. It was just a long-running catastrophe.
It's a shame because I think we've said before, despite the fact that they can be a mercurial company and sometimes they can be utterly frustrating, I think we've all got a deep soft spot for Hella.
Yeah, absolutely, because they were the people doing they were the people doing the frog stuff in the late 70s and early 80s. They were doing the oddball, left field, stuff. They were the people doing the Alouette 3s and the Saab 91s and the T28s and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, it was and constellations and stuff like that. It was they were the company taking the risks.
Mm-hmm.
And doing great models, and it all just became a bit of a catastrophe. So, what happens in the next couple of years, we will see. But the Hawkeye looks promising.
Yes, that's apparently that's being done in cooperation with Kinetic. So it's based on the Kinetic.
Well,
tool.
I think what we need to be clear on here is what is being done with is probably kinetics data.
Yeah.
You know, there's already this kind of, oh, it's a shrunk down 48 scale one. It can't be. It doesn't work like that. You know, especially not with CAD data that's now 10, 12 years old. So you know, it might be being done in cooperation with Kinetic using their data, but it's not just it can't be a scale down on the 48 scale kit.
No, absolutely.
There's no shrink button. James Tainton there saying, "Hey Drew, did you see the new season of Letterkenny is out?" Yeah, I'm 4 of 6 episodes into it, James. I'm a bit disappointed it's only 6 episodes, but hey ho.
Letterkenny?
Letterkenny.
What's that?
It's a Canadian comedy.
Okay.
Deeply, deeply funny. Yeah, well, because you know, it's just you have to search some of these things out. But if you like Trailer Park Boys, it's of a similar ilk.
I couldn't kind of Trailer Park Boys. I don't know. I can take and leave that, really, to be honest with you. Not a big fan of it. It's all right, but it's not. Anyway, sorry, I'm just upset most of Canada now.
Well,
yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Right, I'm going to try and do these. I'm going to try and do these tracks here. What's the problem, Blue?
It's just Steve Moore's there saying, "Is the Meng to Com question at the start of the chat a bit too hot to discuss?" Well, I didn't even see it, so.
Is the Meng okay? Is the Meng to Com question? Right. Okay. Well, okay. Let's scroll back up and see what the Meng.
Does anyone know what's going on with the Meng Tacom AH64 and who is Snowman Models? Snowman Models is like T-Rex Models. It's an independent design house kind of thing, who kind of does work for other companies, which is what we've seen with T-Rex and people like that. So they're kind of like they're guns for hire, if you like, in terms of design work.
Found it. There we go. Yeah.
Does anyone know what's gone with the Meng and Tacom AH64? I don't know what in what sense you mean. What's going on?
No.
Steve, I've heard nothing about stories of design theft or anything. This is entirely new to me. I know nothing about this, so
we know nothing about it, and I don't think we'd
so we can't discuss it because we don't know what's don't know what's going on. I will just say that a lot of the stuff that goes on with these companies in mainland China and I mean Hong Kong even, which is I believe where at least Kinetic operate from. There's been a lot of strife over the years, shall we say?
I think diplomatically we'll draw a veil over that one.
Yeah,
and let other people.
There was a lot of stuff a few years ago regarding AMK and Kinetic and stuff like that, and I think it's just we will never know the full truth.
No,
let's just say that. But often what happens with these companies is design theft just means that somebody has hawked their work out to multiple people.
Yes.
Doesn't it? You know, that's generally, you know, generally there's something a bit more in depth going on. We saw the same with those Hong Kong models, didn't we? And the Dutch company and things like that. It's a very cutthroat business out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very cutthroat business. So yeah, not any the wiser, really.
No, can't help you on that one. Just going through here. Just having a look here. Sorry, I can't find where I am here. Dum. No, I lost it. Oh yeah, Anthony Burst says just found out there is a Series 2 Airfix Humber on TV starting in the next few weeks. Thought it might be a repeat, so happy I found out it's a new show. Yeah, it's the new show. I was yet again scheduled to be on it, but I just wasn't comfortable with the idea of having a film crew kind of like rocking up at the house, especially having got COVID this year, and I'm now reaping the benefits of post-viral fatigue syndrome. So yeah, I had to kind of decline their offer to take part in that. The production companies, I declined their offer to take part in the show simply because I didn't want to be where I am at the moment, which is still battling this blessed virus. So, well, not the virus, but the long-term effects of it. So anyway, but no, there's a new series coming on, so watch that. That should be good fun. And let's have a quick look. Oh, there you go. Tony's there. Excellent. Tony Surridge. There we go. He says 7:45 breakfast program available on iPlayer BBC, I think. Excellent. Right. And Dave Fleming says on breakfast news. Excellent. Right. We will go and have a look for that later on. Dave Fleming says, Dave being cryptic as usual, he says, might have annoyed the neighbours, JM. Who, mine or yours? I'm always annoying mine. That's my job in life.
If he guaranteed it was going to annoy the neighbours, he would have had him in anyway.
There is that. Yeah. No. So that's a bit cryptic from Dave there. There we go. Anthony Bird says it did say the molds for the Hawkeye are being cut in France. So right, here we go. Ian Hartup's got a question for you.
No, I haven't, Ian.
Right. Okay. Here we go.
I have one. I have one here. Sent by, I believe, Mr. Mummery sent it to me. And I've yet to get round to building it in my pantheon of mirages. So I have it. In fact, I built two of them back when it was first released. I built two of them for AMK to display at the IPMS Nationals. So yes, it's a very nice model. It just turned into one of those models that became incredibly difficult to get hold of very, very quickly. Well, AMK seemed to do that. It kind of fades in and out of availability with some regularity, which is something that irritates me about a lot of these manufacturers these days. Is that the stuff, even really new tools rapidly become very difficult to find. And sometimes you have to wait, multiple years for them to be reshot. I mean, it became a problem with decals a few years ago, in that they do one production run and that's it these days. When we were young,
here we go,
and you were limited. When we were young, and it was pretty much model. Well, when it was model decal and microscale were your two sort of major choices, decals were just available.
Yeah.
If you wanted them, you just went and got them. If you knew which sheet you wanted, you just ordered it and got it. These days, people do print runs of 500 or so, and that's it. They're gone. So you end up with a kit of, say, I don't know, a new tool Phantom released, and the last time new decals were released was 8 or 9 years ago, and you don't get any new decals for a new kit, new tool, because they were done back along. Which can be which can be pretty frustrating sometimes. It kind of like makes you feel like you're backed into grabbing stuff when it's available, which I guess is part of the reason they do it is to force sales, but it kind of sticks in the craw sometimes a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, Dave Fleming there saying problems with things like canopy masks and etch sets too. Try finding one for a 10-year-old kit, which is why I build up my own library of stuff here at home in terms of masking sets and things like that, so that I know I just have to cut another masking set if I want to build that kit down the road. So
it's funny Dave says that, because one of the things I'm going to have a clear out of the workshop here in the new year, and I've got a whole pile of True Details canopy masks, which I got at Telford for cheaps a couple of years ago, and the thing about them is that, you know, I thought, oh great, you know, a whole load of easy masks, I think they're called. Let's have a look. What are they called? They're called fast frames. That was it, fast frames. And I got a load of them. And I thought, excellent. You know, I think somebody was selling them. They were selling them for like 10p each. So I got a small EC mountain of them. But of course, the problem there is that a lot of them are for older kits that have since been superseded by better ones.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thinking, well, you know, as much as I like the idea of having canopy masks for the Hasegawa Hellcat, well, you know, I'll probably build an Edward one now. So what will probably happen is in the new year, I'll put those up on eBay, or I'll advertise them here and just get rid of them. So anybody wants some True Details fast frames, then you know, we'll strike an arrangement, I think is the best way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the other part of that, and it's something that we did discuss here, or I discussed on here a few months ago, was that when a new kit is released, inevitably within the 5 months or so after it's released, you get a whole slew of aftermarket updates and corrections and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of makes you think that the kit as it was released isn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real, you know, it's a mental thing. It's really difficult to avoid that feeling that kit's not good enough if I don't have all these correction sets for it. Fast forward 3 or 4 years down the line, and you don't care anymore. You know, you're just going to get the kit and build it because it's past. You know, the thing that everybody was selling correction sets for is just passed into history. Nobody cares anymore. You know, the best example I can think of really is something like the Tamiya Heinkel 219.
Mm-hmm.
Masses of update, detail, correction sets and stuff for that when it was released. 23 or 24 years on, I just want to build that model.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about there's so many correction sets and stuff. You know, I don't care. I just want to build the model to have something that looks like a really, really nice Heinkel 219 on my shelves. So yeah, if you think the kit you've got isn't good enough because you haven't got all the correction sets and stuff, just put it aside for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
You'll soon come to think it is.
My companions say we're watching Box of Delights and enjoying it, but fail to find anything that might have traumatized Drew.
No, it's everything. The music. I've never seen it. It's the music's enough for me.
Oh no! Trust me, there are things in it that will traumatize you, Drew. There are giant life-size rats and mice, and what else? Oh God, there's lots in there to traumatize you. Trust me.
What? Rats don't traumatize me.
Yeah, but giant man-sized ones will then. Anyway, and Jim says, he says, question: did AMK produce a series of 148 MiG-25s?
No, they didn't. Kitty Hawk did a range, and ICM have done a range. And all I'll say to that is ICM.
ICM indeed.
Moving on.
Well, funny you say that, because that was one of the things in the Hella news, and there are a couple of things on their schedule, like, for example, a 35th scale Lafley V15 artillery tractor, which I can only imagine is a polybagged copy of the ICM kit. I don't think Hella have decided to go.
Yeah, I mean, it almost certainly will be, because I know ICM. I mean, ICM kit is polybagged by Revell and people like that anyway. So, you know, it's almost, you know, there's no chance it isn't. Put it that way. It's such an obscure subject. It's going to be the ICM kit, isn't it?
Yeah. Mike Reeves says, JM and Drew, you are making my point about quitting full-time casting and going 3D printed only. The market demands that quality and detail. Now, funny you say that. I'm not going to say where I saw it and who it was or whatnot, but I saw somebody was doing a a conversion set or a correction set. I'm just going to muddy it so that we're not going to get any complaints about this. But essentially, it was obviously something that had been mastered by hand and had been cast in resin and everything. And it just, the drop in quality is really noticeable now compared to what people are doing with 3D printed stuff, and 3D, not just 3D printed, but 3D printed, direct 3D printed resin. To see somebody doing something where they're pulling it out of mold, you know, it's something that's obviously been done and they pulled it out of molds and it's been hand crafted. There was nothing wrong with it, but it just looked like something from another era because that's what it was.
Yeah, it's just the sharpness of 3D printed stuff and 3D design stuff. It's just a different, you know, I mean, all these, back in the day, black boxing people doing handcrafted cockpits and stuff, they were phenomenal. They were absolutely beautiful. But you just put one of those next to somebody who's, done a 3D designed and printed instrument panel for, I don't know, an F-15 or something. Craig Sargent did that earlier this year for his prototype one. And it just, like you say, it's different era. It's a different era. You know, you can argue that one is pure craftsmanship and one is engineering design, which is a fair point. But then again, the one that's done with engineering design more closely represents the original item, doesn't it?
Anthony Bird says Hella Laughley did say it was ICM with different decals. That's good, right? Okay, that's good. It's good to know that ICM have got another market for their models, given what's going on in Ukraine at the moment. Dave Fleming, good question this, Dave. Perhaps Mike Reeves can answer this one. He says, does the ability to print on demand change the business model a bit? E.g.,
Mike and I discussed this last week.
Nothing is ever out of production because you can print to order.
You can print to order, absolutely, and stuff can you can iterate really easily. You know, if I come up with some piece of information on something of mine that Mike is producing, I can iterate because I've got the original files. You know, I can add an update to that part, and then Mike can start printing it. So the ability to iterate design as well as, you know, the sharper detail you get from it is a double bonus, and it's never out of production. You know, it just, you do what you literally, or I wouldn't say literally, but largely, you don't have an inventory problem.
No,
because you print, you can more or less print as you need.
Also, you don't have to worry about storing molds. You don't have to worry about molds wearing. It's just bang it out of the machine, bang, 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 bang. I'm oversimplifying it, but that's the joy of the system.
No, I mean, once you've got and I think Mike would agree with me in that we're all using broadly comparable printers. Once you dial those printers in, you get remarkably few failures. You know, generally speaking, if I get a failure, it will be a complete plate failure. It won't just be a one or two items on a plate. It'll be a complete plate failure. But that's incredibly rare. Now, I don't really think of failures happening.
Failure is not an option.
Well, it just doesn't. You know, you've dialed your settings in with, you know, the particular resin you're using, and Mike and I and Nigel, we quite often discuss the resins we're using, where we're going with stuff, and sort of bouncing settings backwards and forwards to kind of refine until we're all getting a similar success with a similar item, and then we know we've kind of, you know, we've cracked it for whatever that particular item is. It's just, you know, it works. You know, and the technology's moving so fast. It seems, you know, I mean, we've all had Saturn IIs now for 6 or 7 months or whatever it is, and I can see that probably at some point in 2023 we will all move on to the next you know, we will all move on to the next iteration of whichever printer is currently the gold standard, which the Saturn II still is pretty much, I think.
I can't wait for you to start getting the Saturn V's.
Well, yes. Ho ho ho.
Ho 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 ho. Right.
Jose there. How hard would it be to make the 3D work for a conversion from a monogram A37 to a T37? It's basically a centre fuselage and belly, but it's all curves. I mean, again, Jose, the issue is information.
Information.
Yeah. Yes.
We need information.
We need information. I am not a number.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so it's information. Most of this stuff, you know, curves and stuff is, if you've got cross sections to work from and you know, decent design, none of that's a problem. None of that's a problem. But again, you know, you can't say it too often. The problem is getting the information. You know, once you got the information, you're good to go. And Mike's nagging us about his giveaway.
Well, the funny thing is, I've got it on my phone here to remind myself that Mike has rather kindly offered to give 3 $50 giveaways of phase hanger resin. So I think we'll break this down into 3 things throughout the show. I don't know how we are going to give me 5 minutes and I'll think of a question and people have to put an answer in and then we'll do it that way. So I need to have a think about that, but we will have okay, I'll think of a question here. The question is if we'll pick our favorite one out of this. If phase hanger was a chocolate bar, what would it be? Get your thinking caps on, people, and we'll choose the best one out of that for the first giveaway this evening. That gives me more time to think of a better question for the second and third giveaway.
Just to be clear here, just as Mike's saying there, what Mike's offering is a $50 value, basically shopping, you know, trolley spree at phase hanger resin, and he will cover the postage for those the bits that you select as well. I mean, it's full disclosure time. I do work for Mike. Some of us do work for Mike, so you know, feel free to order our stuff. But yeah, Mike's you know, phase hanger is a great company, and they're one of the companies that appear to have taken the business very, very seriously. You know, they've started and they've remained a part of the scene all the way through. They haven't faded in and out and came back every couple of years and released a couple of things and that's it. That sort of thing. You know, phase hanger are now an established, very successful company.
Mike also has invested in his business, and he's invested in his, you know, in his printing machines, you know, in his 3D printers and whatever, which, you know, and it's not a case of, well, he bought a 3D printer and that was it. He is constantly buying new machines to get better print quality out of them all the time. So he really is kind of like pioneering to some extent, the pushing the limits of what can be done with 3D printing for this kind of stuff. So, you know, it's yeah, full disclosure, you know, we're obviously all good personal friends of Mike, and Mike is a supplier of chocolate to me. But yeah, Mike's offered 3 $50 gift cards with which he's going to do post free. So we're gonna let that run for about another 5 minutes, see who comes up with the best you know, the best phase. If phase hanger were a chocolate, it would be, and then we'll pick one from that, and that'll be the first of the £50 gift cards taken care of this evening. So, and now we're both going to see what responses we're getting here at the moment.
Oh, we've got some that are making my mouth water anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking as well. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay, we'll read some of them out, but we will pick our favourite one in a minute.
Well, Pavel, not with that attitude, you won't.
Okay, here we go. He says hobby time. Jim Altegott says a Milky Way bar. Okay. Hobby time says Thornton's chocolate. Ooh. Philip Jones says Lindt 80% or more chocolate bar from Lidl.
Oh,
not Lidl. No, Lindt. Sorry, Lindt.
That's saucy.
Tom Jackson says Fry's Turkish Delight.
Rob Monfie reads his pieces. Very good, Mark. Very good, Rob.
Yeah, I like that one actually. Mike and Penn Richardson says Dime Bar, soft on the inside, crunchy on the outside. Gordon J says they'd be Fortnum and Mason rose and violet creams, handmade and indulgent. Okay. And let's just have a look at some of the other ones here. Yeah, Reese's Pieces. Yeah, Steve Moore says Yorkie. Powell says, no, not for me. Fine. Won't even bother trying. Never won anything in any giveaway. Fair enough.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, with that attitude, yeah. God, who let Kenny Killjoy in? Ivan Womack says Wonka bar with a golden ticket in it. Rob Monfie, Reeves Pieces. Reeves' Pieces. I like that actually. Yeah. Ian Hartup says has to be a topic full of nuts. Now that's this show, Ian. This show is full of nuts.
420 scale models. If face hanger was a chocolate, it would be dairy milk. Simple but the best. Oh, see, that's a real attempt, isn't it? That's currying favour. That is.
That's crawling. That is.
Yeah. Bold strategy, sir, if I may say so.
A bold strategy. Mike Williams says Quality Street OVS. Do you know what? I like that one. I think. I'm just going to look at the other one. Marathon, in it for the long one. Very good, Andy Brennan. Dave Fleming says IMC is a topic, lovely, but full of nuts. Very good, Dave. Winks bar with a golden ticket in it. Mars bar. Dave Coward says it's got to be a Hershey's.
No, because we're talking, Dave. We're discussing chocolate here. Hershey's isn't chocolate, so.
Oh, here we go. Chocolate Wars. Jack Daniels is good. JC says Curly Whirly as they look 3D printed. I like the idea of that one, actually.
Oh, saucy.
That's
saucy.
Yeah.
Jared Robinson, waxy cools light flavoured chocolate with a cookie dough centre and a Tex-Mex dusting on top. There's a lot going on with that, isn't there?
There is a lot going on.
That sounds more like a burger.
Yeah. Simon, God, I don't know what's going on with the thing tonight. It's not my trackpad. Simon James Colley says Cadbury caramel. First I thought of.
Pavel has come through with something, but was that I would be forced to say that phonetically, and I would murder it.
What? Vedel Desora Gorska. Wedel that one there. Mike, I tell you what, Mike, we are going to hand it over to you. Mike Reeves, seeing as you're the one who's going to be putting that on, pick one and then we'll announce it. So there we go. It's nothing like abrogating responsibility. Pavel's just having a right old laugh at my Polish there. So Mike,
we still haven't worked out how to say his name. So
nah,
and he sent me a video. He sent me a video explaining it, and I still we're not used to doing those kind of gymnastics.
Mike Reeves says nope, you pick. Thanks a bunch, Mike. Thanks a bunch. Okay, I'm going to go with Jared Watkinson's suggestion, which is waxy cools light flavored chocolate with a cookie dough center and a Tex-Mex dusting on top. Is that actual chocolate?
I think that's just because it makes no sense whatsoever. Jared, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. You have won the first of the phase hanger resin giveaway tonight. So we will, I'll put you in touch with Mike, and then he'll sort you out. So there we go. We've got a winner for now. So we've got 2 more coming up at the moment. So there we go. Jared has won that one. Yeah, Steve Moore says, nice try, JM. Batted back my mic. Yep. Mike Reeves says, nope, you pick. At least I hope that's what he meant to say. Let's have a look. I was going to say there was a trying to think where it was. Where was it? No, I can't find it. No, never mind. Yeah, so we'll do another one in about 20 minutes time, I think.
I've got a question. I've got a question for the next one, and this is going to be a question which requires the fastest answer.
All right, then. Well, we'll hang on for when that's ready. Then. Okie dokie. The fastest answer. Oh, the fastest draw.
Yeah, fastest on the draw. This is going to be
fastest on the draw.
Yep.
I was just gonna mention something there, and I've forgotten what it was. It was something I saw on the television, and nope, gone completely. But it was very good, and it would have been very amusing, and we'd have all had a really big laugh about it. So everybody imagine the big laugh, and that's it, So exactly.
Oh,
I can't remember what it was I was about to say, but nope, gone, absolutely gone
completely.
Gone completely. COVID brain fog. There we go. I'm also trying to put this other. Hang about. Get this off of me. You're going to do some modelling, Drew. You're just going to.
Oh no! Just
don't glare at me. Yeah, I want to do my Italy Crusader because that would have been a great project to do at Christmas, given that that's a model I built, or rather the crew that I built at Christmas a long time ago, 40 odd years ago. But I have to be pragmatic, and that is I've got other things that require building. So I'm going to crack on with them. I've definitely got to get this ambulance finished. So we will get on with those. But yeah, I want to get the comet done as well. I just want to get these done, dusted, so that I can go into the new year with a fairly light schedule and a light heart, and I can kind of like plow on with things. However, one of the things I was just going to say, I was writing my op-ed for MAI today, and one of the things I mentioned in that was the plan to revamp the workshop next year, which I was going to do this year, and cost of living crisis wiped out my money for that. But one of the things that I definitely want to do is just get everything kind of stripped back in here, get new workbenches put in, makes it much easier to film in here. And then also to be able to, I forgot what I was going to say now. No, gone completely. Again, COVID brain fog again. But yeah, it's just to make it much better for filming and stuff. And that will make things easier for doing this as well. God, I was going to make some really interesting point, and I've forgotten what it was. So I'm going to get on with some modelling, and Drew's going to get on with some modelling, and we'll. Mike Williams says, a big laugh, not Mrs. Brown's boys. Then no, not Mrs. Brown's boys.
Not Mrs. Brown's boys. No. Good lord,
no, nope. Terrible.
Ever anything made you despair for the state of this nation? It's the fact that we still have a Christmas special of that.
Yeah, which is a shame because it's we used to have a tradition in this country of having Christmas specials. Certainly the last decent one we had was goodness me, that's nearly 30 years ago. It was the Father Ted Christmas special. But then again, there isn't a Duff episode of Father Ted, so make of that what you will.
Well, that would be an ecumenical matter.
That would be an ecumenical matter indeed. James Tayton says, I'm thinking of creating a regular YouTube show whereby I read the old ancient model magazines as per JM's recent reading. That's a good idea, James. Unfortunately, now I've already done that idea, and therefore you would be infringing on our copyright. and we would take you to. No, we won't. We won't do that at all. You want to do that? Do that.
Go ahead and do it, and just be sure to send us the channel name.
Residuals.
Oh, dear me!
What's that?
You're
residuals?
profiteering.
I know, absolutely. I have turned into a capitalist pig.
All right, Elon, calm down.
I know. No, I said capitalist, not a Bond villain.
A cartoon Bond villain.
A cartoon Bond villain with a stupid toupee. George Ross says, did your friend ever change the 1/24 scale Harrier into the 2-seater trainer?
Oh yes, and then some.
Yeah, I think, George, you're referring to Spencer's 24 scale Harrier T4, which he did. It was very good.
Very good.
Very good. It was not bad. It was quite good.
Yeah, he's all right. He shows promise, that lad.
He shows promise, that lad. Unfortunately, the people who can I say that? No, they're shaking their heads here, so I can't say that. But yeah, I think the judging requires a rethink. That's all I'm going to say on that. So,
what? And the judge didn't know what he was looking at.
I'm not. You can say that. I couldn't possibly comment. To quote Francis Urquhart from House of Cards. Right, I've got these. Right, I've got this on there now. So I've got the front and back kind of splash guards on there. That actually now leaves me with just these teeny bits to get rid of, and then that's it. We actually have a vanquished sprue, which I think is always a good point. Actually, is that C20? Actually, those aren't required on the side skirts. That's for the back end of the vehicle. So what we're going to do is important safety tip here, Egon. What I've done is I've snipped them off the sprues and kept the numbers on there, which then means I'll pop that back in the box, which we'll just have a quick look at this to see if there is anything on this sprue that is required, or frame rather. There is not. Therefore, he says, reaching, because I don't like using my Despy cutters for this. I prefer to use a more industrial pair of cutters. And I don't know what I've done with them. Never mind. They're in the tour box. But that's done. That's over. That's all finished. Dead soldier. So that can go in the bin, and we can carry on gluing things. Carry on gluing. Right. Let's see what we've got here. This is that stage. I know about you, Drew, but you sometimes get stages of models where you feel like you're close to finishing them, but then suddenly there's lots of.
Oh, it's we do. Again, we seem to go in circles a bit with discussions. A few weeks ago, we were discussing how you end up in this endless, sort of endless cycle of bits that need to be added all the time for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I've now got all these teeny weeny bits to add to the Comet, and they're only in each stage. There's only like a couple of bits to go here and a couple of bits here, a couple of bits here. But goodness me, they do slow one down somewhat. So, oh, hello, somebody's spraying. So I'll just have a quick look at. Let's have a look. There we go. Steve Moore says Spencer's Harrier book is available again digitally, featuring 1/24 scale Harrier T2-T4. Let's have a look. Sean Smith says, I had the best Christmas ever. I was ill and spent most of the day in bed. Sorry to hear that, Sean. Steve Moore says Spencer's Harrier book is available again in it's available again in digitally rather, featuring the 24 scale Harrier T4. Dave Fleming says Spence stupid fingers. So fair enough. And let's have a look. Some more comments here. George Ross says, yeah, are there any photographs of this 124 scale Harrier trainer? There are. If you go onto Spencer's Facebook page, his modelling Facebook page, you should. I'll see if I can find a link. There we go. I'm not going to put pictures up because they're Spencer's pictures, but I'll see if I can find a link to it, and probably Spencer Pollard's kit box. Dun, 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 dun. There it is. Dun, 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 dun. Let's try and find it. Gotta say, I think we saw pictures of Spencer's bar that he built for Christmas. That kind of shadow framed box diorama, which was absolutely amazeballs. That really was. Incroyable, as the French would say.
Like I say, shows promise, that lad.
He does show promise. I mean, I'm just looking at here. His Revell 32nd scale P1127. That is quite a model. Well, that's a good picture. That's a picture of me in Jadlam. But anyway, that's a lovely picture. That's what a treat for everybody.
Modestly,
he said more modestly. Wearing my Italy t-shirt as well. Awesome sauce. Right, you are sorry.
Oh,
I know. I'm looking for Spencer's Harrier.
Can you have ever imagined removing masking tape like this when we had to use Humbrol number 11?
Oh God, yeah. Yep. You'd be doing it, you know, kind of like waving a prayer candle or whatnot. Here we go. Yes. Okie dokie. Right. What I'm going to say is I'm going to put a link up to Spencer's page. So I would say, George, if you follow this link I've just put up on the page, bear with. Follow that link, and it will take you to Spencer's kit box. Take it to his page, and there is a article there from the book and some photographs, and there are some other photographs of his gorgeous Harrier. So yeah, worth having a look, and indeed getting a copy of his book, to be honest with you. So it's a good book. Beautifully beautifully illustrated and everything. And Spencer's got a really clean design ethos. So you know, I like his stuff. I'm not saying that just because he's a friend of ours. I do like his stuff considerably. So anyway, right. So there you go, George. Go and have a look. Go and have a look for that, mate. That should answer your questions. There's a link up on our page at the moment. Let's see what other. Dave Fleming put a link up as well. So there we go. Thank you, Dave. Christian Gerard, Mr. Christian says, how do you find the idea to do a theme evenings? How do you find the idea to do a theme evenings next year? For example, a couple of suggestions of themes: natural metal finishes, representing positive and negative rivets, canopy painting. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like the idea of that. This is
the sort of thing where we need to find people who specialise in those things and invite them in.
Exactly. I mean, I'm hopefully next year we'll see the return of the challenges between me and Spencer. The problem there is Spencer is so extraordinarily busy that it's finding time in his busy schedule to do something like that. But we are, you know, without speaking for Spencer, I would like to do one and see if we can do one which will chime in with his kind of like workflow. So we're gonna discuss it and see what is possible. Failing that, I'll pick on Drew instead. So there we go.
Deep Joy.
That's all right. I know you'll enjoy it. James Tatum said you ought to get Jen on more often. We will. She owes me, so we definitely.
I haven't spoken to Jen for ages.
No, well, I spoke to her the other week, Yeah, we ought to get Jen on the show again, actually. If I can trust you all to behave yourselves, so and not start kind of coming up with swears and things. So, right, Drew's doing something there, so I'm just going to pop off camera for a second. So, all yours, Drew.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's all right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just masking the inside of the F16 canopy to spray the outside.
D40. You sunk my battleship.
What are you on, mate?
Oh, I'm looking for bits on the sprues here. D40, and I said you sunk my battleship.
Oh. Fairly typically random from you.
Yeah. And
no, it's just an observation.
And oh, people are getting a frightening insight now into the bickering relationship you and I have now. So
oh, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, of course you don't. I mean, God, we have not had a bickering road trip for over 3 years now. That's got to be corrected somehow. Just can't think of any model shows that are coming up that will, that would suit our badinage, as they say.
as I'm largely, as I have a bit of an active allergy to model shows at the moment, due to bad experiences.
Well, yeah, I suppose. I was going to say I had well, I don't know if I told you about my trip down to Dunster and Minehead and Porlock and then finally Lynmouth. It was fabulous. Found a great cafe in Lynmouth in the car park there. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Won't mean anything to anybody watching this show, but yeah, Lynmouth is a little port at the mouth of the river. I'll say the River Lym, but I probably got that wrong. But it was famous for a flood that took place in the 1950s.
1952, wasn't it? 52 or 53?
That's it, 52, 70 years ago this year. Pretty much wiped out almost the town of Lynmouth. Essentially, it was floodwater at the top on Exmoor, which caused a massive landslip, and all these hundreds of thousands of tons of rock and water and Lord knows what else just came sliding down the valley. And I think we're going to go. Sorry, I don't want to take the mood down here, folks, but there was a memorial there which I was reading on Monday when I was down there, Monday last week, and I think the thing that was quite sobering on one of the on the memorial gives you the names and the ages of the 34 people who lost their lives in the Lynmouth flood, and it's quite sobering how many of them are all from the same family. And then it kind of goes through, and then it gets the last name on the memorial is a woman known only to God, 18 to 25. I couldn't even identify her.
Yeah, Steve Moore said sounds like Boscastle. Yeah, very similar set of events, Steve. Very similar set of events.
Yeah, apart from I don't think anybody lost their life at Boscastle, did they? No, I don't think they did.
I think one or two did, but no. My overwhelming memory of Boscastle is that RAF Yellow Sea King, picking people off of roofs.
Yeah. Nick Brown says Lynmouth, love the waters meet walk there. It is. It's honestly, folks, I would show you the photographs of the. Actually, I'm going to show you the photographs of it. So,
although hilariously enough, I did today finding an article pushed to me in my Facebook feed regarding the most challenging hill to drive up in Somerset.
That'd be Porlock Hill, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I went, oh, I know where that is.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, we did that on. I went up that on. This is Monday before Christmas. I was down in Porlock with my friend viewer Jackie, and we went up Porlock Hill in the Binny, which has got a 1.6 litre engine, but it was still kind of like, struggling.
Not very happy. Not very happy.
You've got to get your gear changes right, and she was remarking on the infamous video of me and you in my old green Mini, where I say to you, right, don't swear, Drew. Your first sight of Porlock Hill, and you swear. So it was like, fine. But yeah, that was a great show. I see if I can find these photographs. I'm just going to bore everybody. This, like I said, this is going to be a slightly different show tonight, because we are going to have little diversions like this for your Christmas entertaining pleasure.
For your Christmas viewing pleasure.
Your Christmas viewing pleasure. Oh, that's a brilliant photograph, that. Oh, he says modestly. Oh, there's a nice picture here of the little garden at I was going to say Contesbury, but it's not. It's where we were, where we had tea and cake out in the garden. And I can't think what it's called now, but it was lovely. Right, here we go.
There were several such places.
There were several places. I'm trying to think. Oh God, hang about. I've just got to look at the goes to Google Maps and looks up Porlock. As soon as I do it, I know exactly what it's called again, and it is Porlock Minehead. There we go, and it is Selworthy. It's the National Trust place in Selworthy. So right, we'll do another thing for Phase Hanger in a second. Actually, we'll do the other thing for Phase Hanger right now, right this very second. So,
are you monitoring for YouTube as well?
Yes, I am. I'm not seeing anything coming up on YouTube at the moment. Not any ne'er-do-wells. So, because I've blocked them, that's why.
No. I was asking because if we're asking a fastest response question,
that's true. Yeah, that's a bit. Okay, what was the fastest question thing again? Then was it? Where was it?
Quickest answer, as we've been looking tonight at F16s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was the major visual distinction between a Block 5 F16 and a Block 5A F16?
Right, you're going to have to look at the answers for that, because I haven't got a clue.
No.
Now we've got some answers here. Steve Moore says Big Mouth. James Tainton says Big Mouth. I'm sure. I think he's answering the.
No right answers yet.
Tom Jackson says Gun Vent.
No.
Tailplanes. Dave Fleming says tailplanes. Negative.
Tailplanes are a Block 15 and retrofitted.
Simon Lewis says countries who use them. Stiffening plates.
No.
A taller tail.
No.
Radome. Mike Reeves says,
No.
I know.
Well,
I should hope you do.
Well, somebody's getting closer.
Yeah, Mike Reeves says, I know. I should hope you do, Mike, because you worked on them.
So we've had one reasonably close answer.
Mike Williams says bird slicer antennas.
No.
Canopy?
Wing size, no. Canopy, no.
No. Okay.
Right, I want an exact answer, gentlemen, not just a random one.
Radome, no. Canopy tint, no. Fine.
Dave's got it.
Dave Fleming.
Dave Fleming's got it.
Wow. There's a thing. Black radome.
Yep. All FSD and Block 5 had a black radome, and Block 5A and onwards moved on to a grey radome. So there you go.
So, yeah. Okay. So Dave Fleming, get in contact with Mike Reeves at Phase Hanger, and Mike will mail you your little thing of goodies.
See, frustratingly, several people just said radome without actually.
Yeah. Oh well, right, that's it. That's that one answered. We got Gordon J says, "Am I blocked and have no chance of winning this quiz?" Not that we're aware of, Gordon.
No, clearly not, because it's showing up.
Yeah, click. That's a bit like who was it? 30p Lee yesterday saying that they won't show Les Dawson on television these days on the same day that BBC 4 was showing a documentary about Les Dawson. So it's kind of like, okay. Anyway, yeah, there we go.
Just a couple of things, Mike. As I understood it, mainly for camouflage reasons.
Mike says different coating to keep the radar system cool.
So let's just address a few of the other suggestions here. So gun vent was a retrofit later on where they simplified the gun vent. They removed the holes and gave it slots. Air intake is strictly from Block 30/32 onwards. General Electric engined aircraft moved to a larger intake, about a foot wider, different profile, because of the larger mass airflow required by the big engine. Tailplanes. The bigger tailplanes came along with the Block 15 and were added for stability reasons when bombing. And in fact, quite a few of the, at least a few of the Danish F-16As and some of the Israeli ones as well never got the bigger tailplanes at any point. So that's the tailplanes covered. Intake shape we've covered. Base of tail. So yeah, all of the Block 1, 5, 5A, 10, 15, they all had the small tail. They're all F6 and Block 20s for that matter, had the small tail. Some of them had the initial extended base of the tail was for a parabrake housing for the Norwegian aircraft, which was then used to also house ECM gear and stuff for other nations. Intake larger big mouth. No, we discussed that. Price tag almost certainly. Countries who use them. No, I mean new engine. If we're only going to draw the distinction between an F100 and F110, so initial Block 1 through to 5 and 5A had two Dash 100s, then moved to 220s, then 220E, and then Block 32, 42, 52 and onwards had the Dash 229 General Electric and Pratt & Whitney engine. So canopy, it's also always varied. Canopies have always varied in terms of what tinting and stuff. Anthony Bird suggested wing size. No, every F-16 ever made has exactly the same wing size. The only exceptions, I would say, production F-16. The F2 isn't really an F-16, so we don't really count that. And the F-16 XL obviously is a different kettle of fish altogether as well. Gear bay doors front from Jose. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, some of the gear bays changed when they got heavyweight gear, and the very early prototypes had a multi-part nose wheel door. Ejection seat. So yeah, prototypes had an Escapac ejection seat, I believe. Full-scale development aircraft had a Stencil S3S ejection seat, and then when they moved on to production, that's when the Aces 2 came in. and Belgian. Yeah, the US Air Force F-16 had a piece of the honeycomb on the tailplane breakaway a few years ago on takeoff, which kind of drew a curtain to that particular display, rightfully so. Yeah, lights on the nose landing gear. That they used to be on the main landing gear doors, or main landing gear, I should say. And then when they started using targeting pods and stuff on the intakes, that blocked the landing lights, so they were moved to the front of the nose landing gear door, so that the pods and stuff wouldn't obstruct the landing lights.
Well, we're all
Anyway,
learning something about the F-16 today.
There's another F-16 lesson. I do like to keep up on F-16 stuff because it still remains one of the most important Western fighters in production.
I reckon that will still be in service by about the year. What do you reckon? About 2060 or something?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. I mean, you've still got a good proportion of the US Air Forces were delivered in the late 80s and early 90s still, so they're all 30 years old, and we're still making F-16s now. So if you add 30 to now, you've got through to at least the mid 2050s.
That's a terrifying prospect, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I have little doubt that flying F-16s will outlive me, without a shadow of a doubt. So yes, there you go. So that's two. So we've got to think of a third one now, haven't we?
Well, somebody came up with a suggestion of war films. I like the.
Yes. Well, I will defer to you for that one then.
Oh right, okay. What was I watching the other day? It was Von Ryan's Express.
That was one of my mother's favourite films.
Well, I was crazy. Von Ryan's Express. You could actually link. Oh God, I can't get the.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to get the. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Von Ryan's Express. If you wanted to play 30 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and you wanted to have me as one of the questions, you could put me in there, and it is. There's a link from Frank Sinatra via a couple of other steps to Kevin Bacon, but the point is that I, as a child actor, was in
I'll just interrupt you there for a second, John. Yeah. Happy New Year to you as well, Jack Daniels. He's leaving us to go to work. So.
All right. Happy New Year to you, Jack, and mind how you go.
And we will see you in the new year.
We'll see you in the new year, indeed. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was. I was in an HTV television drama called The Square Leopard, starring John Layton. John Layton was in Von Ryan's Express. So you can take your pick from there of any number of actors who then interacted, pardon the pun, with what's his name? With Kevin Bacon. Yeah, the Bakes. So the Great British Bake Off thing. So yeah, there we go. Right, here we go. I'm going to bore you with my holiday snaps. Here we go. That was Selworthy. Remember Selworthy, Drew?
Oh yes.
Yeah, little National Trust village there.
I love that because it looked like it was literally just a whole village, wasn't it, down the hill? It is
a whole village owned by the National Trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really pretty.
Cafe was open. Cafe's just around the corner there, and it was lovely, and it was very nice, and we enjoyed ourselves, and it was fab. Then we went over the hill, and that is Lynmouth Harbour, which is fabulous. It's that's lovely, isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Then this is one of my favourite photographs because I took a photograph of Lynmouth Harbour last year, and I thought that one was pretty good. But this one, the light from the sky is absolutely stunning. And that's the Christmas tree that's made up of lobster pots. And they do that every year. Yeah, I know. But oh God, honestly, it was utterly fabulous. And then that is the that's that one. Yes, that's it. That's the valley that leads up to the top of Exmoor. That is where a lot of the floodwater came crashing down in 1962. So
52.
yeah, 52 rather. Yeah. So, oh God, I'm just looking at that picture now and thinking I'd love to be back there. The week before Christmas. It's got such a brilliant atmosphere down there. It really has. You're miles away from the motorway. You're miles away from any of the hustle and bustle. It is absolutely brilliant down there. So yeah, there we go. That was my Christmas trip, which was
Not too
jolly
many
good.
human beings around.
Yeah, there were very few human beings around actually. Herman Hambrush says, I half expect to see a hobbit walk around the corner. Here we go. Yeah, we've got people are talking about films on war films that are on television at Christmas. Anthony Burr says, Von Ryan, oh dear. Now, if you'd have said Heroes of Telemark or even better, Where Eagles Dare, that was worth watching in my humble view. Oh, can I say about Von Ryan's Express? It was on at Christmas. That's all I can say about it. Mike Williams says The Great Escape was on TV Christmas Day. Of course it was. Of course it was. Goodness me! If The Great Escape isn't on television on Christmas Day, it's a bit like the Rooks.
Christmas?
It's a bit like the Rooks at the Tower of London. If they fly away, we're done for essentially. Yeah, it's law in this country that The Great Escape has to be on at Christmas. And what else have we got here? Gordon J says, I started to watch 1917 last night and gave up. Did you start watching it at 1917? That's just a question. Philip Jones says, Von Ryan's Express, not a patch on Kelly's Heroes. Enough of these negative waves.
Moriarty.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Yeah, I do like Kelly's Heroes. That is a funny film. That is a funny film. Always remember it was kind of like a staple on things like Screen Test. That it'd always show that bit in the when they approach the Tiger tank and the turret starts slowly swiveling round towards them. Played out to a bit like a Western, Western kind of like Sergio Leone music and everything. But actually, quite a creepy sequence. Quite a creepy sequence. Right. Well, I've got the right. Look, let's just go back to my workbench now, and we get some modelling in between all the badinage tonight. So I've glued these in place now because it speeds things up a bit. Because then, what I should be able to do, in theory, is then get this the right way around. Which way around does that go? Yes, it is. I should be able to hang about. There we go. That's because I got that stupid idler wheel in place. There we go. We should be able to pop that in there like so. And then that one there like so. And then that will. It's all right. I've glued something in place there, which is just interfering with the fit, which is why you should always follow the Tamiya instructions explicitly. But yeah, there we go. So there we go. So that's now in place. So what I should be able to do, which I can't, but I will be able to do it, and that's pop that. There we go. We can pop that in there. We've got the drive sprocket there. So actually, that does work. That does that does work. So I can pop all those road wheels in there. The only thing we've got to do is to get the tracks in place, which again I might come down to just gluing it all into position. But I wanted to get the wheels in place to just so I can work out where I can go from there. Really, we'll pop these in as well. There we go. Oops.
Ooh.
Oops. I know there's nice sound of plastic. Sounds like plastic breaking there, but it isn't. Oops. Come on. There we go.
Oops. Oops.
Whoops a daisy. Oops. Come on. There we go. That's more like it. Wunderbar.
There we go.
There we go. That's that. So that's pretty much all that in place now. In fact, the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm thinking that I might just glue that in place. Actually, I'm gonna sleep on that tonight and then work it all out tomorrow. But that's looking good. That's fine. So then what we've got to do is just get them blessed tracks in place. But before I do that, I am just gonna oops, Daisy. I'm just going to try it again. There we go. I'm just going to have a go at getting some of these other detailed parts on, and then then we can kind of move it on a bit. Then so I'm just looking C29, C29, C28. Right. Okay. Okay. God, I think that Italy Crusader will probably be, I'm not going to say easier, but I really don't. I'm not a big fan of having to do all these kind of tracks and things in place first. I just prefer them. So just a minor criticism of Tamiya here is I just don't like doing this kind of stuff in having to do it all first. I much prefer sticking a rubber band track on there and then wrapping it around the wheels, and that's it. So anyway. Right, Drew, you're on solo again.
Oh, right, am I? Oh, right.
Yeah, of course you are.
No, I'm just redoing the one of the LAU 128 launchers. I spilt a load of glue on the other night accidentally.
Oh,
yeah, knocked a. Actually, it wasn't. It was cellulose thinner. I knocked a little cup of cellulose thinner off, so I've had to find some spares, rebuild them, and reattach them to the outboard pylon for the F-16. Actually, one of the things I was quite a little bit disappointed with the Kinetic F-16 was it's got no PIDS pylons in it. It's got none of the pylons with the dispensers and stuff integrated
right.
in the kit, which is very, very common on European aircraft, and not even the towed decoy set up on the outboards of US Air Force ones included in the kit, which I thought was a little bit disappointing considering how complete they've done it. You know, how complete they've been with stores and stuff to have missed out some really quite common and well-known options. So anyway, I'm currently doing some research to get the information together to start designing those.
Oh God, I'm out of tea. Good Lord.
Yeah, we're nearly 2 hours in.
We are nearly 2 hours in. Goodness me, that's a bit of a marathon. I think we'll go for about 9:30. I think. What do you reckon?
Well, we're here now, so
We're here now.
We're here
Yeah,
now.
exactly. We're here now. Yeah, I'm just trying to get my brain into gear as to what more I can do on this. These are literally the conversations I have with myself when I'm building things, and I'm sat here going dum de dum de dum de dum de dum. What can I do next? Dum de dum de dum de dum de dum. So let's have a look.
And you're trying to think of a question.
I am trying to think of a question. I'm trying to think of a question that isn't just people go, oh, for crying out loud, JM, that is so utterly kind of like filmic. How are we supposed to know the answer to that? So I'll think of
a question for the masses.
a question for the masses. Yes, I'll think of something.
Not some obscure stuff about the light bulbs they used.
No, not that at all. Not that at all. I've got a good one. I've got. Let me just check. Let me just check. Hang about longest day film. Here we go. Yeah, well, that's that question shot now, because I just said the longest day film, and the question I was going to ask was what film starred James Bond and Ulrich Goldfinger in 1962, and the answer was The Longest Day. So I've rather kind of like shot the answer to that one, which was a bit disappointing. Anyway, we can always ask it again and see how many people were paying attention. Right.
Kind of ruined that, didn't you?
Huh?
Kind of ruined that.
No. Here's a question then, right? In The Longest Day, right? I hope everybody's making notes here. In The Longest Day, which actor which actor played his own commanding officer in a sequence where he actually took part in the action itself? So it's an actor played his own commanding officer in The Longest Day. And whoever comes up with the first one to mention that wins a prize. There we go. We've got a winner already. Gordon J. It was Richard Todd. And Richard Todd in the film plays Major John Howard. And they take one of the bridges during the initial kind of parachute drop. And Richard Todd was actually one of the people who took part in that action, and his commanding officer was Major John Howard. So there we go.
That was quick.
It was quick. Gordon J, who apparently is blocked, he was there like a shot. So well done, Gordon J. You got that. That was very good. Hobby Time got that as well, as did Richard Sturridge, rather. I can't say Sturridge. Sorry. Yep, we've got quite a few answers there, but no, it is Gordon J. So Gordon, if you can get on to either drop us your details or get in contact with Mike Reeves at Phase Hanger, and we will put you in contact with him for your prize. So there you go, Mike. Gordon J got the right answer there. A couple of other people are mentioning Kurt Jurgens is in The Longest Day. Yeah, surprisingly, quite a few Bond actors end up in The Longest Day. Ulrich Goldfinger, Carl Stromberg. Goodness me, they're all in it. Yeah, good film that. I do like The Longest Day. I think it is a really kind of like really well put together film. I think one of the directors, I think it was Guy Hamilton, was obviously directed the Bond films, and also in The Longest Day was the first captain of the Starship Enterprise. But who was that? That was the American actor Jeffrey Hunter. See, we're learning things today. Yeah, Craig Sargent says, and then they colorize it. Yeah, that's really bad. It's terrible colorization. It's just, yeah, not good. Not good. So there we go. So Gordon J is the winner of the third and final for tonight, Phase Hanger goodie bag. So so we'll get you all in contact with Mike, and he'll sort you out. So we've got to say, big thank you to Mike for sponsoring that competition. That was very generous of him, and I think we both
was interest for a bit, eh? Few questions, and
yeah, no, brilliant, absolutely. So thanks, Mike. That's very, very, very kind of you. I mean, seeing as I now know people can get the answers, I think the next quiz we have is going to be fiendishly difficult.
Yeah, so we're going to have to up the ante somewhat.
I'm going to up the ante. Oh, yeah, up the ante. Yeah. So, right. Come on. Focus. I need to get C29 and C28 in. So where are they? They are on
Sprucey and.
Yeah, very good. Very funny.
Well,
actually, scrap that idea. Scrap that idea. We'll be going off the air in the next 5 minutes because he doesn't like people being helpful. Because Gobby McSarcasm here was starting to kick off here. So Craig Sargent says. Jim Altercott says no F-16 questions. No, fair enough. We don't have any F-16 questions.
Well, it was. We'd been discussing F-16s, and I've been building one, so it was entirely relevant.
No, that's fine. No, I think next time,
if people aren't keeping up with their F-16 ephemera, then I can't be responsible for them. They're clearly missing out. You wouldn't have this problem if we've been talking about Spitfires. Everybody has Spitfires.
Well, no, I know less about Spitfires than you do. So,
I doubt that.
Well, no. Whereas if you said the question is that on the wing walk markings on a Spitfire, what is the height in terms of inches of the no step lettering? Then that'd be good. That would certainly be.
I picked up some of these dry brush paints the other week.
Oh yeah. What?
And I also picked up while I was.
What do they do?
And I was out.
Are you
a big dry brushing brush, a big flat, one of those big soft dry brushing brush things.
So you've bought some dry brushing paints. Are you now going to ask? I've got some of these things. What do I do?
No, you'll never believe what I did.
Go on. What did you do? You dry brush them.
I tried them.
Yeah,
I know. It's another one of those scenarios where you go, what do I need that for? There's loads of ways to do dry brushing. And then you try them out and you go, well, yeah, actually, it does work. Yep. I will find plenty of uses for them, put it that way.
Yeah. I was of that opinion when the Ammo of MIG oil brushes came out.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think I said to you, not really, it's just oil paint in a tube, and in a bottle or whatever. And I was very kind of dismissive of them. Went out and bought some, and you know what? They're good. They are really good. And of the ones I've got here, I still use them quite regularly, and they haven't dried up either.
I do think it's worth getting a proper dry brushing brush as well, like that.
Okay.
That definitely helps as well, because it's like very It's short, but it's really, really soft, and it's like, I mean, it's not as fancy as Spencer's super fancy set he got last year.
No.
But it was, you know, this dry brushing paint. It smells like almost like poster paint, like traditional acrylics, old-fashioned acrylics. But obviously, it's really thick and gungy, shall we say? But yeah, it's so
well, that's the thing about dry brushing with those paints, is that you don't want a brush where you've got long strands come out dragging it across. You need something which is a bit kind of like stumpy.
So yeah, so something like that combing there with this light grey on it, and you just go in little circles, and immediately just starts picking up.
God, dry brushing, eh? God, aren't we on the cutting edge of modelling here? Oh, blimey!
But immediately starts picking up on all the.
Tom Jackson says, "Thanks for the show, guys. Have to go. Have a happy new year." Thanks, Tom. Thanks for that. And to you as well. Dave Fleming says, "Dry brushing is a subtle art I can never get the hang of."
But yeah, I think that's.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of like picked up all the detail on that combing really nicely, and it's just a kind of slow drying acrylic paint. So you know, cleaning your brush out afterwards, just swill it around in water. A little bit of soap.
I've got, what ones have I got here? I think I've got the gunmetal or something. God, this is why I need to do that reorganization of the workshop, because I need to get these paints in a much more visible area. But yeah, I've used them and I do like them. They are not gimmicky.
No.
I think some people are a bit snooty about them and go, "Oh, what are you doing that for?" Oh, and it's like, well,
again, these are the kind of things that you know, are they an essential part of your modelling kit? No, absolutely not. You know, I could have quite happily carried on modelling without these in my armoury in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you know, I've got them, I've tried them, I like them, I will use them. So that's, you know, somebody who was it there? Jim Altegott. I have found enamels to be the best for dry brushing. In general, I would agree with you, but these are they behave very much like enamels. These actually do behave very much like enamels. So
and I think the thing I like about those is that you can dry brush those, and then you can go straight in and do oil washes over the top of them.
Yes. So there's as soon as it's dry, it's dry. I would generally use oils or enamels for dry brushing. Mike Williams, what brush is that? Mike, it's well, basically Ammo technical dry brush technical brush. There you go. 08702 is the code. Sorry, 8702. So it's not cheap, 13 quid for one brush. But you know, I think this is going to be one of those brushes that lasts, because you're not abusing it at all in any way, really.
No.
Are you? It's you know, you're doing a job with it and then cleaning it and then moving on. They do several different sizes. This is the largest size. And like I got this from the Scale Model Shed.
All right.
But I mean, anywhere ammo's sold, really, it's going to be, you know, it's pretty much going to be available from. So, you know, there you go.
I got to say, I've got to make a trip. I've got to go down to Yeovilton sometime in the new year. And I must check to see when the Scale Model Shed's open, because I've obviously not been in there. So yeah, we need to sort something out for that.
Yes, I went there on payday, and had a little bit of a spendathon, shall we say?
It's just as we've said before, we have got an embarrassment of riches in the Southwest with so many either shops or mail order or retail that we can go to.
Yeah,
We are so
I mean, I've been
lucky.
using these. These splatter masks for years out since we first discovered them. While I was there last week, I found a different set as well that they now do, which has got. Well, I haven't even opened this yet. I just bought it because I thought they'll come in handy at some point. So let's have a look at what we've got here. So there is kind of a spiral pattern, which, yeah. But what I like about these ones is how fine the pattern is. This one looks fantastically useful. I really, really, really like that one. I can see that being used more than any of the others, really, overall. And then there's that one there, which also looks like it all.
Anthony Bird says, Drew, is that Propeller brand masks?
Propeller brand?
No, I think he means Propeller band. You know, it's kind of like for doing like chipping and stuff on propellers.
No, not that I'm aware of. No, it's just yeah, that was again, it's like, because I was having a little bit of a Christmas present myself. That's 17 quid for those 3 masks. Having said that, this was 15 quid or something, and I got these about 4 years ago, and I've been using them ever since, and I'm still on the first set. So
I don't think you can ever really go wrong investing in tools.
No,
I really don't think you can.
No. So yeah, these are tool ones are great, but yeah, I saw these and I just had a quick look at the patterns that were included on the back here and went, yeah. I mean, that spiral one's going to be useful for some stuff, no doubt. Yeah. But these two, I think these two are worth the price of admission. Especially on the perimeter of the here and here is going to be great for, and all that area there. Look, it's just going to be fantastically useful. So, yeah, Artool is the name of the brand, Anthony. So,
yeah, I got a set of them. They're brilliant. They're absolutely top dollar. So I like them very, very much.
Yes. So I've now got two different sets, and like I say, I've been using this set constantly for about 4 years. So they've all got a lot of. I know some people were complaining that they're just made of thick paper, but it's some kind of specially treated paper. You can see that's almost completely grey. That's had lots and lots of paint on it, and it's still absolutely perfect. Still functions absolutely perfectly. You know, and the other ones are. You can see that they've had plenty of use. So I think these are they might seem expensive for what you get, but they do last a long time.
No, I definitely agree with that. I'm just looking to see where mine are. They're in here somewhere. But I was using them when did I first use mine? I used them when I was doing that. I had to build that Italy F14 nearly 3 years ago now. And just to get that kind of weathering on it, and I just went mad with them, and they were great, and they are exactly what you want to.
Yeah. I just
exactly what you want to.
Fantastically useful.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to go. I mean, thus far for all my visits to the Scale Model Shed, I haven't bought a single model. I don't think. It's just such a great place to browse for tools and stuff. Like packets of abrasives and stuff like that.
Yes, I at Telford I picked up some more of the. There we go. I did pick up some more of the Infamy. They've all Infamy. Their premium ultra precision soft standing sticks. Because I got those from, oh blimey, what they call premium hobbies from Western Supermare. They were
Yeah.
at Telford as well. So it's yet another Somerset link.
But this
You
is
know.
just like a big packet of chopped up. I think it's just £7 or £8.
Yeah.
You just find that you're constantly just dragging them out to do, you know, little sanding jobs where you don't want to go too far, shall we say? Areas like that. So I am bringing. I do think that 400 and 800 grit wet and dry are things that people should be looking to get back into.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just find it terrifically useful stuff, and you can order it, you know, multiple sheets of it for a few quid on eBay. Really,
I got some down in Poundland, would you believe?
yeah. But this stuff, wet and dry used wet, I still think is just one of the best.
Yeah.
Is one of the best abrasives out there, and it went out of fashion for so long, didn't it? As everybody was using the latest and greatest sanding sponges and sticks and stuff. But I still think, you know, especially used wet.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
But the thing is, it's so cheap that I can throw that away and cut another piece now. If I think it's even slightly starting to lose its cut.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cheap.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you kind of like you're thinking, oh, if only there was a tool for this particular task, and then you think to yourself, well, there it is. You can just make it yourself.
Yeah, it's just there is. It's called wet and dry, and it's the stuff we used to use back in the old days.
Back in the old days,
it did before all, and it's not by any means saying that the, you know, sanding sticks and sponges and stuff haven't got their place. But I definitely tend to think we've kind of tried to use them as a replacement for rather than as a supplement to.
Yes, I'd agree.
And we really shouldn't have lost sight of how incredibly useful the old standbys are.
Yep.
You know, sanded with a little bit of water there, because, you know, the water keeps the grit clean. So that was like 2 minutes work to sand that join in. No, I quite agree with you. And car model has never really stopped, but in other disciplines, it did seem to become a very, very almost looked down upon.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's as much as anything, because car model is the finishing techniques car modelers have tended to use are still sort of scale downs of full size techniques, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're still using, you know, polishing and waxing and stuff. So it's it makes sense that, you know, original techniques like this never went out of fashion with those guys.
I got to say, in the new year, I've got my 3M kind of sanding stuff here. I've got to try that denibbing from like what that Jennifer does.
Yeah, it's great if you want a really, really super high. Well, in actual fact, I was just playing that F16 rear fuselage part I was playing with earlier. I just I did a bit of denibbing and polishing whilst we were doing other things, and that is just primer. There's no gloss on that at all. That is, to me, a fine surface primer, denibbed and polished.
Mm-hmm.
You can see how.
Yep. That's something I really want to.
And that was literally whilst I was sat here talking to you, talking on here. I just did that. That's had a little bit of polishing out. I did a little bit of Oh, there it is. I did a little bit of polishing with the Hasegawa Tri-Tool ceramic compound, which is just a, it's a polishing compound. And then I did some turtle wax polishing compound. And that is all over a matte.
Very nice.
And that is a matte primer that's just been polished out. And yeah, and that, and let's say, obviously Trizact.
That is something I've got to get, got to try and, get a grip on in the new year, or next year rather. And because I've still got that Ford Escort Abarth to finish off. So
I remember that Japanese guy who builds those amazing cars with all the.
Oh God, he did the Mini, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he was using this stuff, God hand polishing.
Right.
So I immediately went on online to search out those. So I got a few things like that. Hey?
Was that eBay?
No, that was through Plaza Japan.
Okay.
But obviously, it's really difficult to use Plaza Japan at the moment because of the way that Japan Post are being. So I got those about a year ago. Well, just under a year ago. And yeah, they're again, it's just another tool in the armory. Always looking for new stuff, aren't we?
Always
looking for new stuff to play with and experiment with. So,
I mean, I suppose we're reasonably lucky in as much as we can. We've got. I was going to say this. We've got a certain amount of disposable income to try stuff out and whatever.
Absolutely.
However, having said that, in my op-ed for Brett's magazine this month, I was bemoaning the fact that in the last year, my budget for remodeling my workshop has been completely wiped out by the cost of living crisis. So I'm going to have to wait until that abates and all that before I can actually get on and do the do the remodeling of the workshop. It's really annoying because the money's there, but the money gets eaten up on heating and council tax and all the other stuff. It just.
But then again, I mean, it has to be said that 400 and 800 grit wet and dry like that will get most people everywhere they need to be when building a model. So.
There we go. Brian Wilton says AliExpress have God hand tools and sanders. Anthony Bird says new stuff. Try the Despy sanding sponges, very similar looking to those God hand you just showed, Drew. And Dave Fleming says nice glass of Erdinger. Listening to you guys and watching the football. Great evening. Indeed. Ian Hart says, Trizact, do you mean that stuff is a revelation? It is. Here we go. Jared asks, he says, Drew, what would you use? Would you use your method of superglue for joining fuselage halves if it was a vac form kit?
Yes.
There we go.
Pretty much. I would try and reinforce it from the inside. But yeah.
I did that nearly 30 years ago when I was building Tim Perry's 48 scale Fairy Firefly, and it needed to be built fairly quickly. So I was just building it with super glue and it worked.
Yeah.
It works very well.
Good night, Ian. Take care.
Yeah. Good night, Ian. So yeah, as a technique, it works very well.
Excuse me.
That's all right. Right. Well, we're coming up to 20. Just come up to 25 minutes past 9 now. So I think what we'll do is we'll call it a night at 9:30.
Draw a line under it.
Draw a line under the sand. Quit whilst we're ahead. Upstate. Shush. Wait your turn. Sorry, I prematurely belled there. Any other
Unbelievable.
business?
Not from me, no.
Okay.
Just remains to wish everybody a happy new year, really, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
As we look carefully at 2023 from around the corner, not wanting to tempt too much from it.
No. I mean, what can I say? I think Airfix are doing their new product release stuff. Was it the 8th of January I saw something? I can't remember.
10th,
I don't know. But yeah, that'll be coming up in the new year. We've got Toy Fair in February, because I was chatting to Mr. Farmer about that just on day before Christmas Eve. So I think they're briefing a couple of the chaps from the hobby company to go out there as well. And yeah, we'll just keep our fingers crossed that kit companies can still carry on producing stuff at the moment. Obviously,
I don't see any reason why they won't, given what's going on. Given the state of the modelling industry at the moment, it certainly seems to be weathering the storms.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Obviously, we're gonna, we're gonna keep a weather eye on how our friends in Ukraine will be, how they'll be tackling this in the new year, and whether they'll be announcing new stuff as well. I've got to say, and I don't want to kind of end the show on a downer, but I'm never cease to be amazed how utterly self-absorbed modelers can sometimes be in castigating a company which is currently being bombed back to the Stone Age because they're not releasing stuff to their timetable. And it's like, really, chaps, really? Have a word with yourself, I couldn't believe that, but there we go. But what about my needs? It's like, fine. Yeah, that's a little bit odd, I think it's the best way of putting it, before I get myself into trouble. But anyway, no, I haven't got any other business. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to try and crack on here. I was a bit disappointed I didn't actually build that Crusader over Christmas, but like I say, unfortunately, my days have become very short with post-viral fatigue syndrome. So
yes.
which is not fun. But there you go.
Anyway,
we'll be back fighting fit in the new year, hopefully. Well, the option is we won't be. So no, we will be.
Yeah, I think we will be because the option is we won't be, and that's something we're not really prepared for.
That's not something I'm prepared to. Failure is not an option. So anyway, unless we contrive some kind of live before New Year's Eve.
It will not for me because I'm going up country on Friday, so
that's fine. I might do a pop-up live, but that'll just be me on me Todd. So on that note, will we be back on Sunday, or shall we give it another break and then be back this time next?
No, because that's New Year's Day, and I'll still be up country. So
that's fine. In that case, then we will be back on Wednesday. Check's diary. Hang about. Check's diary. It will be
Wednesday the 4th. Well, is that right? 4th?
About Wednesday. Just checks. Wednesday the 4th. Yeah, here's the thing. Also, folks, incidentally, you can leave all your Christmas decorations up until the 2nd of February because that's when the traditional old calendar date of Candlemas is, and that's what English Heritage have been saying to people: is leave your Christmas decorations up until the 2nd of February. So that's what I'll be doing this year. So there we go. Well, adds a bit of colour to the dark winter months, doesn't it? And you don't have to get rid of all the Christmas decorations. So there we go. So it's a public service I'm doing here, Drew. You're not
Okay.
convinced. Never mind. Fair enough. Right.
No. If it makes you happy,
It does make me happy. It
there
does
you
make
go.
me happy. Anyway, look, on that note, on that controversial note, we'll be back on Wednesday, the 4th. Yeah, Brian Wilton says, ends on a bum note, indeed. We'll be back on Wednesday, the 4th of January 2023. That's impossible. How can it be the year 2023?
Well, there you go.
Well, that's not an answer, isn't it? Well, there you go.
I've got nothing else to say. I have nothing to add of any importance whatsoever, other than to go, oh well, there we are.
Fine. Right. Okay. Well, anyway, sad to say, Drew won't be joining us next year for the rest of the show. No, he will be. So, from the pair of us,
Yes.
the pair of us, it remains for us to say thank you very much for your support,
Patronage.
your support throughout 2022, and we'll be back next year. That's all I can say. So until then, from myself, from Scrooge here, Drew here rather, we'll say thank you very much and Happy
Good
New
night.
Year.
And we'll
See
Happy
you
New Year and see you next year.
2023. Bye for now.